The metal pod shook violently as it entered the atmosphere of planet Crucible. Inside, June Kim gripped the safety harness tightly, his knuckles white. His breath came in short bursts, creating small clouds in the cold air of the drop pod. Entry. Sequence initiated. Brace for landing in 60 seconds, the computer voice announced. June checked his survival gear one last time. The Confederation had given him basic supplies: a knife, water purifier, emergency shelter, and a small energy pistol. Not much to survive on a planet that had already killed hundreds of elite soldiers. The pod bounced hard as it hit the ground. The door hissed open, and hot, humid air rushed in. June stepped out onto the red soil of Crucible, immediately feeling the heavier gravity pulling at his muscles. "Communication link established," said the voice in his ear. "Admiral Han is waiting to speak with you." A hologram appeared from June's wrist device. Admiral Han's stern face looked at him with cold eyes. "Prisoner 3587, designation June Kim." "Can you hear me?" the Admiral asked. "Loud and clear, sir," June replied, keeping his voice flat. "Good. Remember our agreement. Survive for 1 month while gathering data on the planet. Do this and your prison sentence will be cancelled. Fail, and you die. Either way, the Confederation loses nothing." June nodded. "Understood. Your neural implant will record everything you see and experience. The data will help us plan a proper mining operation for the Nexium deposits." "And if I find a way to mine it myself?" June asked. Admiral Han laughed. "Don't be ridiculous. 17 different species have tried and failed. What makes you think one human criminal can succeed where they couldn't?" June didn't answer. He just stared at the Admiral with steady eyes. "You were chosen because humans are known for their survival instinct," Han continued. "And because you're expendable. Your tracking beacon will let us know when you die." The hologram flickered off without a goodbye. June looked around at the alien landscape. Tall purple plants swayed in the hot breeze. Strange bird-like creatures with 6 wings circled overhead. In the distance, a mountain range rose sharply, its peaks hidden in clouds. 1 month, June muttered to himself. "I just need to last 1 month." He pulled out a small scanner and checked the air. Breathable, but with higher oxygen levels than Earth. That explained the bigger plants and animals. It also meant fires would burn faster and hotter here. The scanner beeped, detecting water about a kilometer east. June shouldered his pack and started walking. His prison muscles, kept strong through daily exercise, strained under the heavier gravity. By the time he reached the water source, a fast-flowing stream with clear blue water, dark clouds had gathered. Overhead, the water tested safe to drink with his purifier. As he filled his container, a loud crack of thunder made him look up. The storm formed faster than any weather on Earth. Lightning flashed across the sky, striking the ground with frightening accuracy. June barely had time to take cover under a rock outcropping before rain fell in sheets so thick he could hardly see through them. A bolt of lightning struck a tree near his position. The purple wood burst into flames that spread quickly in the oxygen-rich air. Then another bolt hit closer and another. It was as if the lightning was targeting him specifically. His wrist device sparked and died as a powerful electrical surge passed through it. The neural implant in his head gave a painful shock, then went silent. His connection to the Confederation ship was severed. "Great," June said to himself. "Day 1 and I'm already on my own." The storm raged for hours. When it finally passed, the landscape had changed. Burned trees smoldered everywhere, the stream had overflowed its banks. Night was falling, bringing new sounds, howls and screeches unlike anything on Earth. June set up his emergency shelter behind a fallen log, making it as hidden as possible. His years in Earth's special forces had taught him to stay out of sight, in hostile territory. And this entire planet was hostile territory. As he ate a bland nutrient bar from his supplies, June reviewed what he knew about Crucible. Discovered 5 years ago, the planet was rich in Nexium, a crystal with 10 times the energy potential of any known fuel source. 1 kilogram could power a starship for a year. The Confederation wanted it badly, but Crucible didn't give up its treasures easily. The first mining team, A group of rocky-skinned Krawl known for their toughness died within days. Their equipment was found melted, their bodies torn apart. The next team fared no better. And the next. 200 soldiers from 17 species, all dead. June wasn't supposed to know these details, but he had overheard the scientists talking during his training. They believed humans might survive where others couldn't because of their adaptability. Humans could live in more environments than any other known species. "So I'm a lab rat," June muttered as he secured the shelter entrance. "Testing if humans can survive here." He left his prison jumpsuit folded neatly at the bottom of his pack. He never wanted to see it again. Now he wore the standard-issue survival suit given to him for the mission. It was designed to adjust to varying temperatures and provide some protection against minor injuries. Not enough to stop a large predator, though. The first night on Crucible was long. Strange sounds kept June alert, his hand never far from his energy pistol. He dozed in short bursts, never fully sleeping. When morning finally came, he emerged cautiously from his shelter. A six-legged creature about the size of a large dog was sniffing around his camp. It had no eyes that June could see, but a mouth full of sharp teeth dominated its front. When it sensed June, it turned toward him and made a high-pitched sound. June remained perfectly still. The creature approached, slowly, sniffing the air. When it was 3 meters away, it suddenly lunged. June rolled to the side, drawing his pistol in one smooth motion. The energy beam hit the creature mid-jump, sending it crashing to the ground. "First rule of survival," June said to the dead creature. "Always be ready." He examined the animal carefully. Its skin was tough but not armored. Its leg muscles suggested it was built for speed and jumping. No eyes, but many sensory pits around its head that probably detected heat or movement. He took samples of its tissue and stored them in a collection vial. The scientists would want this data if he ever reconnected with them. But June wasn't thinking about the Confederation now. He was thinking about survival. He spent the day exploring the area around his camp, marking safe paths and dangerous spots. He found several Nexium crystals protruding from rocks near the stream. They glowed with a soft blue light, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. When he touched one, a small shock ran up his arm. Not painful, but strange, like the crystal was responding to him. He carefully extracted a small piece using tools from his pack. The crystal continued to pulse in his hand. "What are you?" he whispered to it. By evening, June had expanded his knowledge of the local area, cataloged 3 different plant species that seemed edible, though he wasn't desperate enough to try them yet, and killed another predator that thought he would make a good meal. As night fell again, another electrical storm gathered. June was better prepared this time, having found a cave in the hillside. He watched from safety as lightning struck the valley below, following patterns that seemed almost deliberate. This isn't random, he realized, watching the lightning hit the same spots repeatedly. There's a pattern here. In the Confederation prison where June had spent the last 3 years, he had learned patience, the ability to watch and wait, to see patterns others missed. It had kept him alive when other prisoners wanted him dead. Now those same skills might keep him alive on Crucible. As the storm raged outside his cave, June made a decision. The Confederation expected him to die here. They had sent him as a disposable test subject, but he would prove them wrong. "They think they own this planet," he said to himself as he studied the Nexium crystal by the light of his emergency lamp. "But I'm going to learn its secrets first." The crystal pulsed in his hand as if responding to his words. Little did the Confederation know they hadn't sent just any human to this death world. They had sent June Kim, former Special Forces survival expert, a man who had survived 3 years in the galaxy's most dangerous prison. A man with nothing to lose and everything to gain. The Admiral's words echoed in his mind. "What makes you think one human criminal can succeed where others couldn't?" June smiled in the darkness of the cave. "Because I'm not trying to conquer this planet," he answered the memory. "I'm trying to understand it." Outside, the lightning flashed as if in response. 3 months had passed since June's arrival on Crucible. The Confederation had lost contact with him after that first electrical storm. They assumed he was dead, like all the others before him. They were wrong. June stood at the entrance of his cave home, watching the sunrise paint the alien sky with shades of orange and purple. His body had changed during his time on the planet. He was leaner now, his muscles harder. His reflexes were faster than they had ever been, even during his peak military days. The heavy gravity of Crucible, once a burden, now felt normal. The oxygen-rich air, which had made him dizzy at first, now filled him with energy. He had adapted. June looked down at the valley where his pod had landed. It seemed like such a long time ago. The pod itself was gone now, stripped for useful parts and materials. Nothing went to waste on a death world. Day 92, June said to himself, marking another line on the cave wall. Let's see what you have for me today, Crucible. He picked up his spear, a shaft of tough alien wood topped with a sharpened piece of metal from his drop pod. His energy pistol had run out of power weeks ago. Now he hunted with weapons he made himself. The cave he lived in was no longer just a hole in the rock. He had expanded it, creating different areas for sleeping, food storage, and his workshop. The walls were decorated with drawings of the creatures he had encountered and maps of the areas he had explored. Near his sleeping area sat a collection of blue Nexium crystals. They pulsed gently, giving off enough light to see by at night. June had discovered that they responded to his presence, glowing brighter when he was near. Sometimes when he held them, he felt as if they were trying to communicate. June stepped out into the morning light. His first task of the day was to check the traps he had set the night before. He moved silently through the forest, his footsteps making almost no sound on the soft ground. 3 months of hunting had taught him how to move like the predators of this world. The first trap held a 6-legged creature smaller than the one he had killed on his first day. These were good eating, with meat that tasted like a mix of chicken and fish. June killed it quickly and added it to his pack. As he checked his second trap, a low growl came from behind him. June didn't turn around immediately. Instead, he slowly reached for his spear, his eyes scanning the ground for a shadow. There it was, the shadow of one of Crucible's apex predators, the locals, as June called them in his mind. 4 meters long, with armored skin and claws that could tear through metal. They looked like a cross between an earth crocodile and a tiger, with 6 legs and no eyes. Like many creatures on Crucible, they hunted by sensing heat and movement. June had encountered them before. 3 of the scars on his body came from these beasts. He had learned that they were smart, hunting in patterns that showed planning. Not today, June whispered. I'm not on your menu. In one quick motion, he turned and threw his spear. It hit, the creature in a soft spot behind its armored head, one of the few vulnerable places June had discovered. The beast roared and charged, but the wound slowed it. June drew his backup weapon, a knife made from a particularly hard piece of the drop pod's hull. The fight was brief but intense. June moved with a speed and precision that would have amazed his former military commanders. He dodged the creature's claws and struck again at its weak points. When it was over, the predator lay dead and June had only a small cut on his arm. You'll make good eating too, he told the dead beast as he began to skin it. The hide would make strong protective gear, and the meat would feed him for days. As June worked, his mind wandered to the Confederation. By now, they would have declared him dead. His name would be added to the long list of those who had failed to survive Crucible. The thought made him smile. Your mistake, he said to the absent Admiral Han. You sent the wrong man to die. Back at his cave, June prepared his meal and treated his new wound with medicine he had made from local plants. He had discovered that some of the purple flora had healing properties even stronger than the medical supplies in his drop pod. After eating, June turned his attention to his most important project. In the deepest part of his cave, he had been building something, AI, device to harness the power of the electrical storms. He had salvaged parts from his drop pod and combined them with Nexium crystals. During his time on Crucible, June had learned that the electrical storms followed patterns. They weren't random, but predictable. If he could harness just a fraction of their energy, he could power equipment, maybe even repair his communication device. Not that he planned to call the Confederation for rescue. No, June had different plans. As evening approached, he saw storm clouds gathering. Perfect timing. He set up his device on a high rock outside the cave, connecting it to the largest Nexium crystal he had found. Then he retreated to safety and waited. The storm hit with its usual fury. Lightning flashed across the sky, striking the ground with tremendous force. When a bolt hit near his device, the Nexium crystal glowed brightly, absorbing the energy. The makeshift capacitors he had built filled rapidly. After the storm passed, June checked his device. It had worked. He now had stored power enough to run his scanner and maybe repair some of his other equipment. First step accomplished, he said with satisfaction. That night, as June lay in his cave, the largest Nexium crystal by his side pulsing. With storm energy, he felt something strange, a presence as if the crystal was watching him. He placed his hand on it, and a jolt of energy passed through him, not painful, but intense. Images flashed in his mind, the planet seen from above, the network of Nexium running through the ground like veins, the electrical storms connecting everything in a giant system. "What are you showing me?" June whispered. More images came. The previous expeditions, their violent attempts to mine the Nexium, the planet's response. In that moment, June understood something profound. Crucible wasn't just trying to kill intruders. It was defending itself. The revelation kept him awake most of the night. If the planet was somehow aware, if the Nexium network formed some kind of nervous system, then everything changed. The Confederation saw Crucible as a resource to be exploited. But what if it was more? The next morning, June began a new project. Using his newly powered scanner, he mapped the Nexium veins near his cave. They formed patterns too regular to be natural. Following them led him to a larger deposit in a hidden valley 3 hours' walk from his home. There, the crystals grew, in a circle around a central formation that pulsed with blue light. June approached carefully, feeling the energy increase with each step. When he reached the center, he knelt and placed his hand on the largest crystal. The connection was immediate and stronger than before. He felt the planet's awareness wash over him, curious and cautious. It recognized him as different from the others who had come before, not seeking to take, but to understand. "I mean no harm," June said aloud, though he sensed the planet didn't understand words. It was feelings and intentions that mattered. He showed it his memories, how he had adapted to survive, how he had learned to live with the planet rather than fight against it. In return, the planet showed him more of itself, the vast network of Nexium that connected everything. When June finally broke contact and walked back to his cave, he knew he had crossed a line. He was no longer just surviving. On Crucible, he had begun a relationship with it. That night, when the electrical storm came, it passed around his cave, leaving it untouched. The lightning danced in the sky, beautiful rather than threatening. June watched, understanding now that what he had thought was random destruction was actually communication, the planet's way of speaking. "I'm learning your language," he told the storm. In his hand, the Nexium crystal pulsed in response. Far above Crucible, in the Confederation monitoring station, a scientist named Sun-Hee Park stared at her screen in disbelief. During a brief gap in the electrical storms, her sensors had picked up a signal from the planet's surface, a human life sign, still active after 3 months. "Impossible," she whispered. Her superior, Dr. Minho Lee, looked over her shoulder. "What did you find?" Sun-Hee quickly switched screens. "Nothing, just a glitch." But later, alone in her quarters, she pulled up the data again. The life sign was real. Someone was alive down there, and they were changing in ways her instruments couldn't fully understand. Sun-Hee made a decision. She would monitor this signal in secret. The Confederation had written off the human test subject, but she hadn't. Something extraordinary was happening on Crucible, and she wanted to know what. 6 months had passed since June landed on Crucible. The planet that was meant to kill him had become his home. Each day, his connection with the Nexium network grew stronger. He could now sense the electrical storms before they formed. He could feel the presence of large predators at a distance. The blue glow of the Nexium had begun to appear in his eyes when he used these abilities. That morning, June stood on a high cliff, looking out over the landscape he had come to know so well. He wore armor made from the hides of Crucible's predators and carried weapons he had crafted himself. At his belt hung a pouch filled with small Nexium crystals, each one pulsing in time with his heartbeat. Another beautiful day, he said to the planet. Though it couldn't understand his words, he had grown used to speaking aloud. It helped him feel less alone. The planet responded in its way, a gentle pulse of energy through the Nexium network, a feeling of agreement. June smiled. 6 months ago, he would have thought himself crazy for believing he could communicate with a planet. Now it seemed as natural as breathing. He was about to return to his cave when he felt something new, a disturbance in the Nexium network, a feeling of alert from the planet. Something was entering the atmosphere, something like his drop pod, but larger. June frowned. The Confederation had never sent a second pod after losing contact with him. Why now? He focused on the feeling, trying to get more information from the planet's senses. 2 life forms. Not a mining crew, just 2. Coming down fast, but not in a military vessel. A small shuttle, trying to avoid detection. Curious, June began moving, toward where he sensed the shuttle would land. It was several hours' journey, but he could move quickly now, his body fully adapted to Crucible's gravity and terrain. As he traveled, he sent calming thoughts through the Nexium network. No need for the planet to see these newcomers as threats. Not yet, anyway. The shuttle landed in a small clearing near a stream. It was a sleek, silver craft, designed for stealth rather than combat. June watched from the cover of the dense purple foliage as the door opened and 2 figures stepped out. They wore environmental suits with clear helmets, standard Confederation issue. One was tall, the other shorter. Both moved cautiously, scanning the area with handheld devices. The taller one spoke, voice slightly muffled by the helmet. The signal came from somewhere in this region. Life signs detected, definitely human, but altered somehow. The second one nodded. We need to move quickly. If the Confederation discovers we took a shuttle without permission, we're both finished. June tensed. They were looking for him, but not as part of an official mission. Who were they and what did they want? He moved silently through the undergrowth, circling behind them. His presence caused barely a ripple in the foliage. 6 months of hunting had taught him how to move like a ghost. The readings are getting stronger, the shorter one said, checking a device. Whoever it is, they're close. Should we call out? Asked the taller one. And alert any predators in the area? No. Let's keep looking. June decided it was time to reveal himself. He stepped out from behind a large tree, spear held loosely in one hand. Looking for me? He asked calmly. Both figures spun around, clearly startled. The taller one raised a standard Confederation energy pistol, while the shorter one simply stared. June Kim? The shorter one asked, voice filled with disbelief. June nodded, studying them carefully. Who's asking? The shorter one slowly removed, their helmet revealing the face of a woman with short black hair. I'm Dr. Sunhee Park, this is Dr. Minho Lee. We've been monitoring your life signs for the past 3 months. Minho lowered his weapon and removed his helmet as well, showing a man with a serious expression and watchful eyes. Everyone else thinks you're dead, he said. Good, June replied. I prefer it that way. Sunhee stepped forward, her eyes fixed on June's face. Your eyes, they're glowing, and your biochemistry readings are unlike anything I've ever seen. What happened to you here? June considered the question. How could he explain what he had experienced? How could he make them understand his connection with Crucible? Evolution, he said simply. This planet isn't trying to kill anyone. It's looking for the right partnership, Minho scoffed. It's killed over 200 soldiers from 17 species, That doesn't sound like looking for a partner. Those soldiers came to take, not to understand, June replied. The planet was defending itself. Sun He's eyes widened. You're saying the planet is sentient? Not exactly. Not like you or me. But aware, yes. The Nexium forms a network throughout the planet, like a nervous system. The electrical storms are its way of communicating. He held out his hand, showing them a Nexium crystal. It pulsed with blue light, matching the glow in his eyes. I've learned to understand it, and it's beginning to understand me. Minho looked, skeptical, but Sun He stepped closer, fascinated. That's why you've survived when no one else could. You're not fighting the planet, you're working with it. June nodded. Come with me, I'll show you. He led them through the forest to his cave home. Along the way, they passed one of Crucible's large predators. It watched them from a distance but didn't attack. Minho reached for his weapon, but June shook his head. It won't hurt us. The planet has told it we're not prey. Inside the cave, Sun He and Minho stared in amazement at what June had built. His living space was comfortable and organized, with tools, weapons, and supplies arranged neatly. Maps drawn on the walls showed extensive exploration of the surrounding area, and everywhere Nexium crystals glowed with soft blue light. You've been busy, Minho commented, examining a device June had built to harness the electrical storms. Surviving. Takes work, June replied. Sun He was scanning the Nexium crystals with her device. These readings are incredible. The energy potential is even higher than our scientists estimated. No wonder the Confederation wants this so badly. June's expression darkened. The Confederation can't have it. Not the way they want to take it. Mining the Nexium would be like cutting out pieces of the planet's brain. They won't care about that, Minho said. All they see is profit. Which is why we came to find you first, Sun He added. When I detected your life signs, I knew something important was happening here. Something worth protecting. June studied them both. Why should I trust you? Sun He met his gaze steadily. Because we risked everything to come here without authorization. Because I've been watching how the Confederation plans to strip this planet bare, and I can't let that happen. Because you need allies, June. The Confederation will be back, with or without us. Before June could respond, he felt a warning pulse through the Nexium network. The planet was alerting him to a new threat. He closed his eyes, focusing on the sensation. What's wrong? Sun He asked, noticing his changed expression. We have company, June said grimly. A Confederation mining ship just entered orbit. Someone must have tracked your shuttle, Minho cursed. We were careful, but not careful enough, June finished for him. He picked up his spear and strapped on his armor. We need to move. They'll be landing soon. What can we do? Sun He asked. We're just 2 scientists and 1 man against a Confederation team. June's eyes glowed brighter as he connected more deeply with the Nexium network. We're not alone. We have an entire planet on our side. But first, I need to know, are you with me? Will you help me protect Crucible? Sun He and Minho exchanged glances. Then Sun He nodded firmly. Yes, this place is too important to lose. I'm in too, Minho said, though I think we're all crazy. June smiled. Crazy is what keeps you alive on a death world. He handed each of them a small Nexium crystal. Hold these. The planet needs to recognize you as friends, not threats. As they took the crystals, a small shock passed through their hands. Sun He gasped as the crystal began to pulse in time with her heartbeat. Minho stared at his in wonder. What just happened? He asked. First contact, June replied. The planet is saying hello. Outside the cave, the sky darkened as storm clouds gathered. But for the first time, the electrical storm wasn't random. Under June's guidance, the planet was focusing its energy, preparing to defend itself against the newcomers. We don't have much time, June said, looking at the darkening sky. The Confederation ship will be landing soon. We need to be ready. Ready for what? Minho asked. June's eyes glowed bright blue in the dim light of the cave. Ready to show them that this isn't Their world to take, it's chosen its partners already. As they stepped outside, lightning flashed overhead, illuminating the three figures standing together against the coming threat. The human the Confederation had sent to die on a death world was now its defender, and he wasn't alone anymore. The Confederation mining ship landed in a large clearing 2 kilometers from June's cave. It was much bigger than the scientists' shuttle, with heavy armor and weapon systems designed to handle hostile environments. A ramp lowered from its side, and a group of 20 people walked out. They wore advanced environmental suits and carried heavy weapons. At their head was Admiral Han, his stern face visible through his helmet. He looked around at the alien landscape with distaste. "Secure the perimeter," he ordered. "Set up the base. Camp here. Sensors show the highest concentration of Nexium is within 5 kilometers of this position." His soldiers spread out, setting up defense systems and monitoring equipment. Scientists began taking samples of the soil and plants. From a hidden position on a nearby hill, June, Sunhee, and Minho watched the Confederation team work. "They brought a full mining crew," Minho whispered. "They're planning to start extraction immediately." June nodded, his blue eyes glowing faintly in the shadow of the large purple leaves hiding them. "They won't get the chance." Through his connection with the Nexium network, June could feel the planet's reaction to the newcomers. It sensed their intentions: to cut, to dig, to take. The electrical storm brewing overhead grew stronger, responding to the threat. "What's the plan?" Sunhee asked, looking at the dark clouds gathering. "We talk first," June said. "Maybe Han will listen to reason," Minho snorted. "You don't know him like we do. Admiral Han doesn't compromise, especially when Nexium is involved." "Still, we try words before action," June insisted. "I don't want bloodshed if it can be avoided." They waited until the Confederation base camp was fully set up before making their move. As night fell, the three walked openly toward the perimeter. Alarm sensors detected them immediately, and soldiers rushed to surround them, weapons raised. "Identify yourselves," a soldier shouted. June stepped forward, his hands empty of weapons. "I am June Kim. I believe Admiral Han will want to speak with me." There was a moment of shocked silence. Then one soldier spoke into his communicator. Minutes later, Admiral Han himself appeared, staring at June with disbelief. "Prisoner 3587, he said. "You're supposed to be dead." "Sorry to disappoint you," June replied calmly. Han's eyes narrowed as he noticed June's glowing blue eyes. Then his gaze shifted to the 2 scientists. "Dr. Park, Dr. Lee. Now I understand how our shuttle went missing. You 2 will face severe punishment for this unauthorized mission." "They came to find me," June said, "and now we've come to talk to you." "Talk?" Han's laugh was cold. "About what? You were sent here to gather data and die. Somehow you survived. That's impressive, but it changes nothing. This planet and its resources belong to the Confederation." "That's where you're wrong," June said. "This planet belongs to itself. The Nexium you want to mine is part of a living system. Mining it would cause immeasurable harm." Han studied June with new interest. "Your eyes. You've been exposed to raw Nexium for too long. It's affecting your mind." "It's opening my mind," June corrected. "The Nexium forms a network throughout the planet. It's a nervous system. The planet is semi-sentient, and it's been defending itself against those who would harm it." "A fairy tale," Han dismissed. "But even if it were true, it wouldn't matter. The Confederation needs Nexium." Overhead, the electrical storm grew stronger. Lightning flashed between dark clouds. "We can show you a better way," Sunhee said. "June has discovered how to harvest small amounts of Nexium without harming the planet. If we work with it instead of against it—" "Enough!" Han cut her off. "This discussion is over. You 3 are now prisoners of the Confederation. Guards, take them to the holding cells." As the soldiers moved forward, June closed his eyes briefly, connecting with the Nexium network. "I wouldn't do that, Admiral." "And why not?" Han asked. "Because we're not alone." At that moment, the storm above unleashed its power. Lightning struck the ground around the Confederation camp, precise and controlled, not hitting any people but destroying equipment. The perimeter sensors exploded in showers of sparks. Communication arrays melted. The soldiers looked up in confusion and fear. This was no natural storm. From the surrounding forest came low growls. As Crucible's predators emerged from hiding, dozens of six-legged beasts with armored skin and sharp teeth surrounded the camp, but they didn't attack. They simply watched, waiting. "What is this?" Han demanded, his hand on his weapon. "This is the planet showing you its power," June said. "It could kill you all right now, but it's giving you a choice instead. Leave peacefully or face the consequences." To prove his point, June raised his hand. The lightning responded, striking exactly where he pointed, a storage container 20 meters away. It exploded in flames. The soldiers backed away from June, fear in their eyes. Even Han looked shaken. "You've become some kind of freak," he said to June. "Whatever the Nexium has done to you, it's turned you against your own kind." "No," June replied. "It's helped me see a better way. Humans could have a future here, Admiral, not as conquerors, but as partners. The planet is willing to share its energy if we respect its life." Han's face hardened. "The Confederation doesn't make deals with rocks." "Then the Confederation will never have Nexium from Crucible," June stated simply. "This is your only warning. Leave now, and tell your leaders that this planet is under protection." "Whose protection?" Han scoffed. "Yours? One man and two traitor scientists?" "No," June said. "Under its own protection. And soon, under humanity's protection. Not the Confederation, humanity. People who understand what's being offered here." Han looked at the destroyed equipment, the lightning still flashing overhead, the predators watching from the edge of the camp. Then he looked back at June, whose eyes glowed bright blue with Nexium energy. "This isn't over," Han said finally. "The Confederation won't give up a prize like this because of your threats." "They're not threats," June replied. "They're facts. You have 1 hour to leave. After that, I won't hold the planet back." For a long moment, Han stared at June, hatred clear in his eyes. Then he turned to his second-in-command. "Begin evacuation procedures. Salvage what equipment you can." "Sir?" The officer looked confused. "We're just going to leave?" "For now," Han said. "We'll be back with proper forces." As the Confederation team hurriedly packed up their remaining equipment, Han approached June one last time. "Whatever you've become, you're no longer human," he said. "When we return, you'll be treated as a hostile alien species." June smiled slightly. "Perhaps I am becoming something new, something better. And I won't be alone next time you come." Han's eyes narrowed. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm declaring this planet independent from the Confederation. Free for humans who want to join us and work with the planet, not against it." "You have no authority to make such a declaration," Han said. June's eyes flashed brighter. "I have the only authority that matters here, the planet's trust. Now go, before it changes its mind about letting you leave." Within the hour, the Confederation ship lifted off, leaving behind burned equipment and disturbed Earth. As it disappeared into the sky, the electrical storm calmed. The predators melted back into the forest. The three humans stood alone in the clearing. "You realize what you've done?" Minho said. "You've just declared war on the Confederation." "No," June replied. "I've declared independence. There's a difference." Sunhee looked troubled. "They'll be back with warships next time." "I know," June said. "That's why we need to prepare. We need more humans who understand what's happening here. People who will see the opportunity, not just the resource." "How do we find such people?" Minho asked. June smiled. "You two found me. There must be others in the Confederation who feel as you do. Scientists, explorers, people who want something more than exploitation." "A colony," Sunhee said thoughtfully. "A human colony working in partnership with a living planet. It's never been done before." "Many things worth doing have never been done before," June said. He placed his hand on a nearby rock, feeling the pulse of the Nexium running through it. "The planet is willing," It's chosen humans as its partners. Now we need to find humans worthy of that choice. The three looked up at the clearing sky, where stars were beginning to appear. Somewhere up there, Admiral Han was already reporting to his superiors. The Confederation would not give up easily, but neither would they. They had a planet on their side, and soon, they hoped, more humans who shared their vision. June's eyes glowed blue in the gathering darkness. "They sent me here to die," he said, quietly. "Instead, I found a new way to live, and now I'm going to share it." 1 year had passed since June first landed on Crucible. The small clearing where his pod had crashed was now a thriving settlement of 50 humans. Simple but sturdy buildings made of local materials stood in a circle around a central plaza. Gardens of earth plants adapted to Crucible's soil grew alongside native purple vegetation. June stood on a hill overlooking the colony, his eyes glowing bright blue in the early morning light. His body had changed even more over the past months. He was stronger, faster, his senses sharper. The Nexium in his system had altered him on a cellular level. He was still human, but something more as well. Beside him stood Sun-Hee, her own eyes, now showing a faint blue glow. As the colony's chief scientist, she had studied the effects of Nexium on human physiology. All the colonists showed some level of change, their bodies adapting to Crucible with the help of the planet itself. "The last group from the mining colony on Tarsus arrived safely," she told June. "That makes 15 new people this month." June nodded with satisfaction. After their confrontation with Admiral Han, Sun-Hee and Minho had returned to Confederation, space with a mission: find others who would join their cause. They sought people who were tired of the Confederation's exploitative ways: scientists, engineers, farmers, teachers, people who wanted a new start. "How are they adjusting?" June asked. "Well," Sun-Hee replied, "the initial shock is always difficult. Seeing the predators, experiencing the storms. But the Nexium crystals you provided are helping them connect with the planet faster than we did." In the central plaza below, Minho was leading a class on survival skills for the newest arrivals. He had become the colony's security chief, teaching everyone how to live safely on a world that most species considered deadly. But the colonists had a secret advantage. The planet itself was helping them. Under June's guidance, Crucible had accepted these humans as partners rather than invaders. The electrical storms avoided the settlement. The predators recognized colonists as off-limits. Even the carnivorous plants seemed to bend away from the paths humans regularly walked. In return, the humans treated the planet with respect. They harvested Nexium using June's method, taking only small crystals that the planet could regrow, never cutting into the main veins that formed its nervous system. They studied its ecosystems without disrupting them. They learned its rhythms and adapted their lives to match. "The energy system is now fully operational," Sun-Hee continued her report. "We're capturing enough power from the storms to run all our equipment and still have reserves." "And the shield?" June asked. Sun-Hee smiled. "Jin has it working at 80% capacity. It should be enough." Jin was their chief engineer, a former Confederation technician who had been fascinated by June's methods of harnessing the electrical storms. He had designed a shield system that used the planet's own energy to create a protective bubble around the colony. They would need it soon. Their spies in the Confederation had sent warning. Admiral Han was returning with a fleet. 5 warships, armed with enough firepower to sterilize the planet, as Han had put it. As if sensing June's thoughts, Sun-Hee placed her hand on his arm. "Do you think we're ready?" June closed his eyes, connecting deeply with the Nexium network. He could feel the entire planet now, every crystal vein, every electrical current, and he could feel the 50 humans who had joined him, each one a bright spot in the network, their presence strengthening it. "We're ready," he said. "The planet is ready." That evening, the colonists gathered in the central plaza for a meal together, as they did each week. Despite the looming threat, the atmosphere was hopeful. Children, the first generation to be born on Crucible, played between the tables. Their eyes already showed the faint blue glow of Nexium adaptation. but stronger than in the adults. They had never known any home but this planet. June stood to address the group. Our scouts have confirmed that the Confederation fleet will arrive tomorrow. Admiral Han comes with 5 warships and orders to take this planet by any means necessary. Worried murmurs spread through the crowd, but June raised his hand for silence. We knew this day would come, he continued. We've prepared for it. But I want to be clear about what we're fighting for. Not just our homes, not just our lives, but a new way of living. A partnership with this world that has welcomed us when it rejected all others. He held up a Nexium crystal, its blue light pulsing, in time with his heartbeat. The Confederation sees only a resource to exploit. We see a partner, and tomorrow we will show them the power of that partnership. The colonists raised their own crystals in response, the combined blue light illuminating the plaza like stars, brought down to Earth. The next morning, the colony's sensors detected the Confederation fleet entering orbit. Jun Sunhee and Minho stood at the shield generator as Jin activated it. A dome of shimmering blue energy formed over the settlement, drawing power from the Nexium network below. They're hailing us, Minho said, checking the communication system. Jun nodded. Put it through. Admiral Han's face appeared on the screen, his expression cold. Jun Kim, I see you've been busy. Building a rebellion on a death world. Impressive but futile. Not a rebellion, Jun corrected. A new beginning, and not a death world, a world that has chosen to partner with us. Han's laugh was harsh. Save your delusions. You have 1 hour to surrender and evacuate. After that, we begin bombardment. This time, the Confederation will not be denied. The screen went dark. Jun turned to the others. Jin, is the shield at full strength? Jin nodded. It will hold against their initial attack. After that, it depends on how much power the planet can channel to us. It will be enough, Jun said with confidence. He placed his hand on a large Nexium crystal embedded in the ground, closing his eyes to communicate with the planet. An hour later, the first energy beam struck the shield from orbit. The blue dome flared but held. More beams followed. Powerful, enough to melt mountains. But the shield absorbed their energy, growing stronger rather than weaker with each hit. This is impossible, Jin said, checking his readings. The shield should be failing, but it's actually getting more powerful. The planet is channeling energy from all over its surface to reinforce it. In orbit, the Confederation ships continued their bombardment, unaware that they were only making their enemy stronger. Each beam that struck the shield was absorbed by the Nexium network, its energy redistributed throughout the planet. It's time, Jun said. He gathered the 50 colonists in the central plaza, each holding their personal Nexium crystal. Together, just as we practiced. As one, they raised their hands toward the sky, focusing their minds on the Nexium network. The blue glow in their eyes intensified as they connected not just with the planet, but with each other. 50 humans and 1 planetary consciousness working in perfect harmony. From the ground beneath them, a massive surge of energy rose upward. It passed through the shield and continued into space, striking the Confederation ships with precision. Not to destroy them, but to disable their weapons and propulsion systems. In orbit, Admiral Han watched in disbelief as his ship's systems failed one by one. The energy beam hadn't damaged the hulls or harmed any crew members. It had simply rendered the warships powerless. What is happening? He demanded of his officers. No one had an answer. A communication came through. It was Jun, his eyes glowing, bright blue. Behind him stood the colonists, their eyes shining with the same light. This is your final warning, Admiral, Jun said. Crucible is not yours to take. It has chosen its partners. Leave now and tell the Confederation that this planet and its people are under protection. Not just human protection, but the planet's own. Han's face was a mask of rage. What have you become? Jun smiled. Something new. Something better. The next step for humanity. Not conquering worlds, but joining with them. Your weapons are disabled, but your life support remains intact. You have enough power to return to Confederation space. Go, and do not return. The transmission ended. In the central plaza, the colonists lowered their hands, the blue glow in their eyes returning to its normal faint shimmer. Many looked tired, but pleased. Sun He checked the sensors. They're leaving orbit, all 5 ships. A cheer went up from the colonists. They had faced the might of the Confederation and prevailed, not through superior firepower, but through a power no one had imagined possible, the combined strength of humans and planet working as one. That night, as the colonists celebrated, June stood alone on his hilltop looking up at the stars. He thought of his journey, from prisoner to test subject to colonist to whatever he was becoming now. The planet's consciousness brushed against his mind, curious and friendly. We did it, he said aloud. We showed them a different way. Sun He joined him, slipping her hand into his. Do you think they'll leave us alone now? No, June said honestly. But next time they come, it won't be with weapons. It will be with questions. And maybe, just maybe, some will come to learn. And what will we teach them? She asked. June looked out over the colony, where humans walked in harmony with a world that had killed all others who tried to conquer it. Where children were growing up, connected to a planetary consciousness that shaped them even as they shaped it. Where a new kind of symbiosis was being born. We'll teach them that the universe isn't just something to take from, he said. It's something to join.